Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Scouting for Boys, a weekly series in which we scout for some boys. So you're probably sat there and wondering to yourself, who is this fine specimen of a man? And what fine specimen of a team does this beautiful man play for? Well, as you probably guessed by the writing in the bottom right, his name is none other than Connor Washington. And who does he play for, might you ask? Peterborough United. You may have guessed by the amount of bias in my speech that I do in fact support Peterborough. It's quite a long story. So I'm not going to tell it in this video. I'll need a good couple minutes to tell it. And this video is not made to be that long. So back to Connor. Connor Washington is 23 years old. And at the moment, he is on fire. Before playing football, he was just your average postman. But soon became a star. Connor Washington originated in St. Ives Town between 2010 and 2012. He had 60 appearances, as you can see here. Just a quick side note, I'm going by statistics that are off to the side of the screen, not by the ones that are on the centre of the Wikipedia page, before anyone points out that it clearly says 52 goals in 50 games. I'm not going by those statistics, I'm going by the ones off the side of the screen. Just thought I'd point it out before anyone complains. And scored 64 goals. Not too bad. That's more than a goal per game. He then moved to Newport County and his form greatly dropped. He only got 5 goals in 39 appearances, and as a striker, it's not too desirable. And for Peterborough, from 2014, he's made 81 appearances and only scored 27. However, a lot of his goals have come this season. He's scored a similar amount of goals as he's made appearances, and his form has really started to shine now in League One. This is where it all began, form-wise. He scored a hat-trick on the 28th of November. This is his first professional hat-trick. It was against Scunthorpe, and Peterborough won 4-0. Now, I'd like to add that Washington's form has been fantastic ever since Wesley started managing Peterborough. Wesley turned Peterborough's performance around from what it was at the start of the season and what it was at the end of last season. They've gone from being mid to lower table to being in the playoff spots quite comfortably. Not too long later, Washington scores some more goals. I may have skipped a few games, but that's fine. 6th of December, he did score another goal. Again, comfortable win, 2-0 against Luton. He scores 2 against Chesterfield. His form just does not stop. This is the 26th of December. Again, skipping some games, but he scores in so many games, I'm not going to mention them all. Scores again, first goal in only 18 minutes against Sheffield United. Now Sheffield, I'd like to point out here, scored only with a penalty and an own goal. Now this was a game I had the notifications coming up for, as quite difficult to watch them, especially when I don't live anywhere near Peterborough. And it became 2-2 in the 84th minute from an own goal from Jack Baldwin. And thank God, the West Ham loanee Samuelson comes blazing in and scores a goal the same minute to seal the victory. Now here is Peterborough's most recent game. It was against Championship side Preston. Now, you'd think in this case, although being at home, being against a team in a higher league would make Peterborough the underdogs. But in no way was this the case. They comfortably win 2-0. Washington scored a beautiful header, which was set up by, I believe, Mikhail Smith. But nothing wrong with that. Fantastic goal. Nonetheless, he's really found his form at the moment. And this has been noticed. I know scouting for boys is meant to be slightly unnoticed players, but as the January transfer window has come along, there is no doubt that he's going to be noticed with the amount of goals he's scoring. He's scoring consistently, and he's scoring goals per game. He's 14 goals last 29 matches. 12 have come in his last 13 games. That's unbelievable. But Peterborough have rejected, understandably, 3 bids. Now, saying this, the chairman says that the company or the team's policy is not to sell a player unless it's for their best interest. So there is no ruling out of Washington moving to a higher club, but they're waiting for the right bid from either a Premier League club or a Championship club that is suitable for him. So it could well be that by the end of January, Peterborough are losing their star striker. Not to say that Connor Washington is the only good player on the team, as in a future Scouting for Boys episode, I do have someone in mind to bring up, who is also Peterborough. I know that is biased, but he's a very good player, and he'll be mentioned in a later episode. As you can see, Washington can be sensational. This was on the 6th of November. So this was before he found his form. And the new boss, Graham Wesley, comes along and he says, see Connor Washington here? He could be fantastic. And basically what Wesley has said, or did say, is it was a lot to do with Washington's reactions to missing a goal. He looks to the sky. It was all in the mentality, and Wesley has unlocked this mentality in Washington, and now Washington score goals after goals after goals. He doesn't score every shot, but he's scoring consistently and nearly every game. So another thing to address is, where could Connor go next? In my opinion, it should be a team higher than League One, but where he could be a key player, not someone who sat warming the bench. So a Championship or even a Premiership team that need a striker that can consistently score goals. For example, you have Jamie Vardy at the moment, who plays for Leicester, who are near the top of the table, which is absolutely unbelievable. No one would have guessed that at the start of the season. But he was not too long ago playing non-league football. So Connor Washington could quite easily be another case of this. Now that he's found his form and he's found how he can score goals consistently, if he can find a team in which he can be a key player and play 90 minutes of most games and have people who can play balls to him in space where he can create chances and score the goals. Saying this, I believe this team should be in a higher league than Peterborough, so maybe a high up Championship team or a low Premiership team to begin with. If he gets his name known in one of those, then there's always the opportunity to progress and play for a high Premier League team like Man City, Man U, Chelsea. I'm not going to list them all because I'll forget one and someone will be offended. But there you go. Now you know a hell of a lot more about Connor Washington. Where will he go? Who knows? But keep an eye out for this young lad because he has been scouted as a boy.